we now have the next speaker has global significance and global appeal. He is credited of being in control, or rather in charge, when the very important OSS Economic Union was brought into being. I am very pleased to offer you a man who is now serving a 4th term as Prime Minister of this country, our hard-working Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Denzil L. Douglas.
I want to thank our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Victor Williams, for the excellent job that he's been doing. Give him a round of applause, of course. Your Excellency, Sir Edmund Lawrence, our Governor General Deputy, and Lady Lawrence, the Honorable Sam Conda, our Deputy Prime Minister, and Mrs. Conda, Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, our Minister of International Trade, Industry and Commerce, etc., the Honorable Mark Brantley, our Leader of the Opposition, Her Majesty's loyal Leader of the Opposition, and our guest speaker, and of course, Mrs. Brantley. Honorable members, distinguished members of Parliament who are here, Your Excellencies, our ambassadors and members of the Diplomatic Corps, our Chamber President, Mr. Michael Morton, and of course, Mrs. Junie Morton, and our General Manager of the FND Credit Union, Mr. James Webb, distinguished executive members of these organizations, and Mr. Carol Evelyn, our President of the CIC, Reverend Gums, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very delighted to be here this evening to bring greetings and best wishes from the government on the occasion of the 28th hosting of the private sector banquet. Let me take this opportunity to commend the Chamber and all organizers for sustaining this premier private sector event over so many years. I thank you for your invitation to be here with you again this year, and for the opportunity to say not just a few words, but some words. Much has been happening over the past months, locally, regionally, and internationally, which I am sure you would want me to touch on tonight. I am reminded that it was just over 5 months ago that my Labour Party successfully contested the January federal elections. I believe that the resounding vote of confidence that we received from the people of St. Kitts and Nevis at that time is testimony to my government's track record of a balanced and inclusive approach to pursuing development initiatives while keeping a very close focus on protecting the more vulnerable in our society. I believe also that the recent election results represented a vote of confidence in my government's people empowerment programs, including those directly related to facilitating private enterprise and wealth creation. I also believe that the voters of this country were aware of how hard my government has worked and continues to work to facilitate appropriate private investment in our country and to sustain a healthy investment climate in general. Tonight, therefore, I intend to focus on a few important elements pertinent to the country's socio-economic well-being and I promise to be as brief as it is possible. Looking at the economic overview, I emphasize that the global economic and financial crisis has severely impacted the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as the other member states of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. The crisis has resulted in a severe decline in tourist arrivals, remittances, construction and related foreign direct investments. The Federation was especially hard hit by the closure of the Four Seasons Resort in October of 2008, as you've heard, after the passage of Hurricane Omar. These factors resulted in a contraction of some 9.6% of whale output in 2009. The construction sector declined by an estimated 25% due to the downturn in private sector development projects as demand fell off for long-term investments. Activity in the tourism sector also contracted by some 20%, as increased international airfares and high unemployment in our major source markets influence this industry. It should be noted, however, that the cruise industry remained quite vibrant and actually expanded by some 13.5% as the industry continued to benefit from negotiations with cruise lines and strategic marketing campaigns by our tourism authority. The way forward points to the opportunity for St. Kitts and Nevis to refine its mode of doing business, to improve levels of efficiency and productivity throughout the public and private sectors, and the opportunity to set new standards in all areas of economic activity. Permit me to look at some fiscal matters as well tonight, and to say that the government has been experiencing a decrease in its revenues and as such has only limited fiscal space to respond to the global crisis that is affecting us. Recognizing that more space had to be created so that assistance could be given where needed, the government has exercised further fiscal restraint and has prioritized expenditure to those areas that would spur economic growth. As is well known, we have provided a stimulus package to small hotels, standalone restaurants, and small and medium enterprises through the provision of tax and duty concessions. The unemployed youth in the Federation were also targeted through the Youth Empowerment Through Skills program. All of these elements, when taken together, would have positive impact in the short and medium terms. Recognizing that these are difficult times throughout the world, government has had to implement coping measures, preparing the country for challenges ahead. These measures include streamlining discretionary tax exemptions, introducing a value-added tax, improving the regulation of duty-free stores, containing expenditure on goods and services, and reprioritizing capital expenditure. A wage and hiring freeze will also be implemented. This will form part of government's wider public sector reform that is aimed at increasing productivity, while at the same time contributing to government's efforts at reducing expenditure.